I'm here this morning with my good friend Brad Rodish. You probably know him better as Callista and Riley's dad, or the guy that gets you financed on a car. How's everything going today?
It's going good today, Troy. With having to work most Saturdays, today's my day off, so I'm putzing around the house, working on some different things, working out in the farm, and having all sorts of fun.
Well, we've talked and we've known each other for quite a few years, through the
Correct?
kids and wrestling,
Yeah.
and you've been a big part of that. But there's another part of your passion and your and everything. I think when I first met you, you had restaurants,
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
and
Yeah, it was
so
several years ago, and we shut those down right before COVID. So yeah, we've
yeah.
done that, and Cassie and I met in restaurants. We worked together. Gosh, be 27 years ago now when June rolls around this year. So yeah, but it's
That's
it's part
crazy.
of our blood. It's in our blood.
My wife and I met in a restaurant also a little over 30 years ago. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? And then, Callista's been on the podcast a couple times and she is
Yeah.
basically she probably should be a chef if that's not her. I know that maybe isn't quite what she has planned, but she needs to be a chef.
Yeah, she wants to be a nurse. I think my dream for the girls was I was going to have Riley move to Alaska, so I'd have someplace to go in the summer. Have Callie move to Florida and do like a marine biologist, water to table type restaurant. So I had some place to go in the wintertime, but they evidently have their
Perfect.
own plans for their lives. So
But so you guys got together and you started a new company.
yeah, yep,
One
yep,
sauce, one
yeah.
sauce and
One SSC, one sauce and
yep.
spice company, and it's not like I have tons of free time, but now that wrestling's over for the season, right? I have to have something to do on my weekends and my spare time. I can't just sit still and enjoy my life.
That's right. How did you guys decide to get started in this whole endeavor?
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I've always been a foodie, right? There's reasons why I got into it, but specifically with the hot sauces, it was just. I mean, we're a hot sauce family. If you walk into our kitchen right now, there's probably 25 different things, ours, other people's, everything. One year for Christmas, I got Callista Hot Sauce of the Month Club, which was just absolutely cool. But 4 or 5 years ago, I just wanted to try something different. I enjoyed things out there, but I wanted something that fit me, right?
Yeah,
Stuff that, I can mix and match other people's hot sauces and do things. And I wanted something that was just kind of my own. So I started putzing around one day, took some to work. So people wanted to buy some, and then it stalled for a little bit. And then it came back and it stalled for a little bit. And I thought, I obviously people enjoy it, right? I keep getting phone calls from people I haven't talked to in a couple of years that want to buy it. So, I just thought it was time to start a company and go.
hey, might as well. We
Exactly. Right.
why not? I think you're probably a lot like I am. Hey, I'll try it. If it doesn't work, hey, I didn't really lose out anything. It's
Yeah.
okay.
If it doesn't work, I don't have any investors. I'm starting small. So if it crashes and burns, it crashes and burns. But if not, I end up with something that's kind of cool, something to talk about.
Yeah, so we were talking ahead of time, and I'm on your website, and the whole hot peppers in the runs in the family story. I find
Right.
that is just a fantastic segue to why you started this business, your why.
Yeah.
You want to kind of explain the story to us a little
Sure.
bit?
I mean, the sauce part of this kind of started, 5, 6 years ago, and that little, blurb story, whatever you want to call it, that's on the website. When I wrote that, I kind of, I had a couple adult beverages. I was sitting down late at night just reading through my business plan and reviewing stuff, and I was going through somewhere. I was like, why am I doing this? Like, what's my drive? What's my intention? What's my goal? What I want it to be? But more importantly, what was kind of the foundation of what started me on this journey, like through hot peppers and gardening and everything that we do. Um, and it really it goes back to. I mean, I was 4 or 5 years old. Probably some of my earliest memories. I would spend the summers with my grandpa. My grandpa and my aunt, lived together in Valley Junction in West Des Moines. He had a huge greenhouse, a huge garden right in the middle of town, which was kind of cool. And I'd get there early in the morning, and my parents would drop me off before work, and they'd pick me up afterwards. Excuse me. And by the time I got there, Grandpa had already been up a couple hours at least, out in the greenhouse before it got hot, planting seeds, pulling weeds, watering everything, monitoring everything. So I kind of just started doing that to mimic him. it was spending time with him. It was taking care of plants. He'd put me up on the raised beds and set me there. And okay, this is a weed, this is a plant. You pull this one, you leave this one, and I don't know how many times I screwed that one up. But then gardening and doing different things, and then it was probably in junior high where he was diagnosed with cancer, and he got lung cancer, and originally they gave him 6 months to live, and he ended up living 2.5 years. And I remember being young and asking him why, words of a kid, right? Grandpa, how are you still alive? And he said, well, I'm doing it just to irritate the doctors. He said it a little bit differently. But as he was going through chemo and radiation, just complete and total loss of appetite, right? Hair, everything, all the things that go along with that. But the one thing I remember him eating more than anything else were fried hot pepper sandwiches. Just hot peppers, fried in grease, homemade bread. Grandpa's eating it, so I'm going to eat it. Yeah. I got burned a couple times. Obviously, it's I'll take a giant bite. That's not the smart thing to go. And it became part of the memory of him that integrated into my life with that. And then it just kind of exploded from there. Eating competitions that I've done, my extreme heat eating, those are way behind in the past, right? Everything has to have flavor along with heat, but it started from there. And every time that I'm doing something and I'm working with peppers and onions and garlic and just the aroma in the air and your face is burning, I seriously have flashbacks to being a kid and sitting there with my grandpa. So yeah, it's ingrained in me from way back.
And I think you told me when we talked on the phone that Callista helps you with this quite a bit also. So it's kind of a cool daddy-daughter thing also.
Right. She's been in the kitchen with me for years. I will say that I trained her, which is not the case. YouTube and things like that. She's taught herself so many things. She really probably could be a very high level chef with what she does. And as much as you can wrangle a teenage girl to get them to help their dad in the kitchen and do certain things, it works. But a lot of times it's, oh, Dad, I have to go do this. Oh, I go do this. But you know what? I'm going to take this bottle of hot sauce with me. Thanks, Dad. Appreciate you. Bye. That kind of thing. So,
yeah. Well, should we go through some of the products here? Because I've had these for a couple weeks and I've tried everything. I will say my heat tolerance is not as good as it used to be when I was in college. And we would have some hot, some pepper eating contests. But
right.
I'm going to start with the ones that I've really, really used quite a bit of. And let's do seasonings first.
Okay.
And how that all happened.
I've got a couple things to talk about there too, because I've got some more that I'm working on that you haven't seen yet. So yeah.
So smoker salt is, and I got these sample packs. I think these are the sample packs, probably, right? Because these are what you send them out in.
Yeah, these are what they're sent out in for now. Okay. I'm going to probably change the packaging. I don't really like these because it's tough to use, right? They look good, they sit well, but I've got some like little miniature, smaller versions, like airline bottles for things like that. I'm going to get some of those and probably put them in that so they can use as kind of shakers as well too. So
nice. Well, smoker salt has been going on about everything I eat anymore because this has, I mean, it's great flavor. How did you come up with maybe some of these different? We'll start with smoker salt. How did you come up with doing this?
So all of the salts kind of, they derive from the sauces. They have their counterpoint in the sauce. And sometimes you're eating something and you don't want to put a whole bunch of liquidy sauce on it, but you want a little flavor, a little heat. Primarily when we cook, and it's been this way for years, we really don't use salt during the cooking process. We'll finish it off with something if it's needed. I've always thought that if you have to cook with tons of salt to get flavor, you don't know how to cook. But sometimes you need to finish it off to pull out some different flavors. So, that's where they went from. The one salt was probably the first one that started it. Because they're based off and built from the same things that the sauces are made from. I think we started off putting it on popcorn, right? Parmesan cheese, a little butter, that, just to give it some different flavor. And there it turned into, went on baked potatoes and, different things that we've done. A buddy that I worked with, said, I'm like, hey, try this. Let me know what you think, just to get other people's opinions. he said he did honey roasted carrots with it, honey glazed carrots.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, the salty, the spice, the sweet, everything. That was absolutely killer. But sometimes you just need a little bit of uh, an accent flavor, a little bit of heat, but you don't really want to burn it, but you want to add to the flavor. So, and that's what I try to do with all of them, is get them to make things better flavor wise, but not take over and overpower what you're normally eating.
I know Riley told me her favorite is the OG salt, and she
That would
uses
be
that
right.
quite a bit. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what's coming up new with this, with salts and
So
seasonings?
I'm trying to think of what I sent you, Troy, what I had. So did I
Well,
send you
I got
three or
one. I
four of
have
them?
one salt, smoker salt, OG salt, and I have a special edition.
You have the O'Mary, the Bloody Mary, the O'Mary one
Well, let's see, it just
on the other side.
oh
Or
yeah,
it's
it does say that on the other side.
Yep,
See, that's why I gotta have you here.
yeah. So that one is like the OG. It's got a little bit of lime added to it, so it is different from the sauce. Margarita rimmer, Corona, that kind of thing. Because really, that's
Yep,
where my mind went with it.
yep.
But then the Bloody Mary rimmer, the O'Mary, obviously for to go on a Bloody Mary or Michelada, to go. So it's not just for food, right? Beverages as well too. It also goes really good on steaks, which is what I found out. I'm surprised Riley didn't say that was her favorite one, because she does have an affinity for Bloody Marys on the weekends.
I
So
I honestly do too. I love a Bloody Mary, and
yeah,
that's something I'm gonna definitely
yeah,
give that a shot.
yeah. But the two that I'm working on, I've prototyped them. I've got them built. I've got the recipes down, and that's what I was doing before I came in to fire up the computer. I've got my steak seasoning, so red meat, steak burgers, things like that,
Hmm.
and then like a chicken, pork, fish type
Uh-huh.
one as well too. And it's really cool with how I did it. That again, they don't really take over like a lot of seasoning blends do, but like I did it on some smash burgers, and it made the beef beefier, if that makes sense. Like it really just added to the flavor, and it made it a ton better than taking it over and giving it its own flavor profile. So
Yeah, no, everything I've tried so far has just been fantastic.
yeah.
We'll get into sauces here. I got my
Cool.
whole bowl of sauces here right in front of me. I
I
would
brought
call
the
out
bottles
again
too. So
my favorite, and I have not had these very long. See, I'm about getting close to halfway done in the bottle of the Guajillo sauce.
well,
Probably
yeah,
that's probably the mild, right?
that is, yeah, that's all flavor, no heat with that one. So
Yeah. Um,
I
that's been
kind of,
fantastic.
I'll
Yeah,
admit,
I love
I, I stole that flavor profile. We were in Southern California, I don't know, 8, 10 years ago, and it was called Beachcombers. It's in like Southern Orange County, right on the beach.
it.
And
Uh-huh.
they had, we were there for breakfast, and it was chiaquillas, so like almost like a breakfast Tex-Mex lasagna type thing. So
Uh-huh.
it's not a taco sauce, but like Southern California into Baja, Mexico, a ton of flavor, but there's nothing really spicy in that. So it's full spectrum with the different things that I do.
Yeah, that's been going on about everything. That's fantastic. And then I love smoked food. And this smoked sauce is probably the second one that I use the most of right
Right
now.
on. Yeah.
So um, why don't you talk about each of the sauces as we go through them
Yeah.
just a little bit.
Yeah, I brought some in too. So the guajillo that we talked about, right?
Yep.
All flavor, no heat. It's a great addition to anything, right? Um, and I kind of mix and match some days, like depending on how I'm feeling that day. Heat wise, it goes from there to the one. The one sauce to rule them all. That was the original one that I started making. Um, and it's the exact same recipe that I started with 5 years ago, which is weird. Like I kind of built in my head what I wanted it to be, and then worked it backwards. And like the first time that I made it, I actually went down and wrote down the recipe, which I never do. I usually just cook, just throw stuff
Yep.
together, because it worked. Um, Kind of sriracha like, but not sriracha. It's more
Uh-huh.
liquid. It's thick and pasty. A lot of garlic, and different. There's a different pepper blend in each one of the sauces. The one's probably maybe I'd say like a 5 out of 10 heat wise.
Yep.
Although my scale is probably different than a lot of people.
Scale
Um,
may be skewed, huh?
it is. It is. And then you go to the greens. You've got the OG, the original green. That's the again. I did the one, and then I wanted a green sauce more. For me, the greens are more breakfast,
Uh-huh.
right? They're a little more vinegar forward, I guess would be the word. So bacon, sausage, eggs, anything fatty, buttery, it helps kind of cut through that and liven it up a little bit. Um, Carnitas, pork burritos, things like that. Anything that is a little fattier meat wise, it works well. It's not the same sauce, just ones like they are different pepper blends as well too. And the smoked is more Chipotle like,
Hmm.
but a lot of commercial, like I eat a lot of Chipotle just in general, not the burritos, but the sauce. Um, and a lot of it is, artificial smoke added and a lot of sweeteners and sugar. I actually do go through and smoke the peppers for a couple hours. So that's just the natural flavor that you would get from it. So, again, I'll use that on. I say I use it on everything because I really do. I pretty much put hot sauce on everything. Um, and then as we work up, we've got the Del Fuego. I say it's probably a 9 out of 10. Fire roasted habaneros. Again, it's fresh habaneros that I mean, I start from scratch and I do it on the grill. um, some other things there that give it a unique flavor. It's not just burn. I never wanted to like anybody can make like a napalm style sauce, right? You get some of
Sure.
the capsaicin and the rosin, you can mix it up and just you can't taste anything. It has a very unique flavor, a little bit of sweetness to it, almost a tropical feel of sorts. But again, I'll put it on everything. And then one that I'm really kind of proud about is the Iowa. Um, I mean, the most Iowa thing you can think of food wise is sweet corn, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's beef, obviously pork, but in general, everybody's going to talk about Iowan corn. And I'm in Madison County, which is where we reside, and I wanted to do something that was kind of paid homage to where I'm at, and I was going to call it Madco from Madison County,
Yep.
and then I thought that sounds a little bit like too much like Mad Cow. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's going to buy that as a hot sauce, and I went, I think I'm going to call it Iowa, and then I went, well, what can I do? And that's where I went. I think I can do this with sweet corn. And I yelled at Callista, I'm like, hey, I need to run a dumb idea past you. And she goes, Dad, I think that'll work. And again, version one, I kind of built it in my head and worked backwards with the ratios and things like that. And it's probably an 8 or 9 out of 10. It just has such a unique flavor,
Yeah, it
um,
does.
which is what I'm really proud of. Is like looking at different. I don't think there's anything like this one anywhere that I've been able to find. Um, Anything Tex-Mex food, right? Tortillas goes great on. Um, Mixed with some mayonnaise on, there's just it's so versatile with what you can use, and it's just a really really unique flavor. So, and then probably the two you haven't. Well, I guess if you've been on the website, um, you've seen the labels, right? They're not really cheap to get produced, and you have to buy
Oh
them in
yeah.
quantities of thousands, right, to get them. So knowing my six starter flavors, but I was going to do more. I did these
Hmm.
special edition labels, and then I put these
Oh
little labels
yeah.
on top to kind of specify what they are. So this one just hit the website. It's passion fruit. Um, so it's heat. It's tropical. It's probably again up in the 8, 9 range for heat, and if you can see the little spots and
Oh
stuff
yeah.
in there, it's
Sure can.
actual passion fruit puree that gets mixed in with it. So you get the savory of the heat, and then kind of a sweet finish that makes it addictive. Um, and then the other special edition that I've got out right now is the McLovin. That was a small batch. It's actually not on the website because everybody that knew that I was doing it bought me out of it before it was even done.
So you're
Um,
down to just a couple bottles at home for
I
yourself.
am, yeah. This was a guy from work. McLovin is his nickname, and I said, "Hey, dude, what like if there was a hot sauce that you've never, what would you want it to taste like?" And he goes, something kind of a garlicky herb, like a bruschetta type flavor profile, but spicy. That's what it is. So it's not marinara. It is a hot sauce. It will warm you right up, but um, again, you can use it like pizza sauce. It goes great on pizza. Mixing with like an Alfredo to give kind of a little warm up to it. But that one's kind of been my jam for the week or two that I've had it out. And I think this is like might be the last actual bottle that I have available of it right now. So yeah.
So, you got all these different things. Where's all the product coming from? Where's all the peppers coming from?
So the fun part about starting a hot sauce company that uses peppers in the wintertime is that you can't grow them.
Yep.
Right? So right now I work with Lafritos, I think is the official. They're produce supplier here in Des Moines. They sell over the state where I get a lot of stuff from. When they can, I know that they source a lot of local products around. But before I came in, to when I said farm work, it's not a
Yeah.
farm; it's a pretty large garden, and I'm checking to make sure that I can get everything. So I've got some enough space that I can grow my own.
Uh-huh.
So then it's kind of cradle to grave type situation. And there's a couple things that I have planned where the peppers that I want to use are more of an heirloom type variety that have been around for years, and you can't really buy them commercially. So those are going to be, if I want them, I'm literally putting the dirt work in, the groundwork in to start the seeds from start to finish, and that'll be really cool because I've got some other ideas that should be really good.
Yeah,
So
that makes it pretty cool that obviously in Iowa we're not growing peppers in the middle of the winter time, but
no,
it's cool that you're doing a lot of those in the summertime, in the spring. You're putting in the work on both ends of this, and that's
yeah,
really cool. Of course, we gotta if we're doing this, we better let people see how they can actually order this. So
that would be awesome.
I'm gonna use a little bit of technology here, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit my share button, and let's let's pull up the website that you can get through very easily through the Facebook page.
Correct. Yep.
So
One SSC,
even if
ONE space SSC will get you to the Facebook page. Like, follow,
so,
share. 'Cause I'll post where I'm going to be like at farmers markets and things like that this summer. So
let's see. I gotta find my share here again. There we go. Awesome. So I'm gonna pull up that website, and I'll just kind of zip through it a little bit on my own. Is it popped up for you? There it goes.
yep, yep, there we go.
You can see it now.
Yeah.
Uh, Great first page.
Man, who's the IT guy that came up with that design? That's
Man,
awesome.
you did you do a really good job of that?
I did. Me and Chat
That's
GPT.
it's fantastic though. I mean, that really is actually it is pretty cool. All the sauces there, all the salts. Got your
Yep.
special passion one in there,
Correct.
story, and then if we want to order, just go down to shop here.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that is
Shop, or
that?
really, I think you can even click onto those
Oh yeah, there we go. Let's
the
let's let's
individual
let's check it
items
out.
and
Oh, there
yeah.
you go. Add to cart, shop and buy. No, that's
Yep.
perfect. Super
Yep.
simple. Very very intuitive website. Good website though. You did a great job,
Thank you.
man. Might have you do some work here. Got the Omeri, got the one salt. No, that looks fantastic. Priced or I'm looking at the prices and I'm thinking you might be priced a little under for all the work you're putting in and for the unique items. But I guess I appreciate that as a consumer that
Yeah,
this is
and
very super affordable.
I've thought about that for price point, and my big thing now is I want to grow kind of the footprint of it. People that I know are buying stuff. I'm starting to get orders through the online web store, which is really cool. I had somebody reach out to me yesterday from Alaska. Hey, can you ship to Anchorage, that kind of thing? And I'm like, well, we can probably figure something out. Um, but yeah, with the price, the time and stuff that I put into it, I love doing it. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes the days take longer than I think they should, and I'm up till 1 o'clock in the morning. But I enjoy doing it, and people can order through the website if they're they know where we're at, right here in the Des Moines area. They can reach out to me directly and kind of avoid some shipping. But I usually fill the orders with it. It's all me, right?
Yep.
It's
Yep.
it's not some third party putting it in a box. It's me trying to figure out how to cram the bottles into with all the packing foam and taping stuff up, and then the USPS, the postal office, comes and picks them up. And I think 3 days is the longest it's taken anything to ship from the day that it was, picked up, transport day, and then dropped off. So you were actually
Yeah,
the first person I shipped to. So you were my test subject. I wanted to make sure it worked before I signed up for anything. And
that sure
um,
did.
yeah, it's working out good. It's working out really good.
Yeah, no, excellent. I absolutely think that's fantastic. It's great to see wrestling families doing, things outside of wrestling,
Right.
and then it's great that we all can kind of support each other in everything that we do. So
Yeah, and
wrestling
it's
families, you love food because we all love food, and you got to have flavor, right? So I I think we got to support the Rodish family here. I'd hate to see Brad have to live with his daughters the rest of his life, you know.
well, I'm glad you mentioned Riley getting her job and Cali going on. I'm hoping they are ultra successful because I'm not sure which one of those is going to pick the home that I'm going to have to reside in when I can't take care of myself. So I'm staying on the good side and providing with hot sauce and food and everything at this point in the game. So
There you go. There you go. Well, thank you very much for doing this. I really
yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah, thanks, Troy.
I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk
It
and
better not be.
oh, for sure not. But yeah, we'll definitely when you got new things coming out, let's make sure we highlight them and we'll make sure we keep going on this because I absolutely love them. They're
Right
great
on.
sauces and
Appreciate that.
maybe I'll keep working on my heat profile a little bit and see if I can
You
handle it a little
know,
bit better.
the best thing to do, Troy, is to get like some little like dark like ranch containers from restaurants, right?
Uh-huh.
And you just fill up one with each sauce, and it's kind of like a little bit of Russian roulette. You just kind of I'm gonna count to five, and you spin. You count to five, and you just take a shot of hot sauce and go. And the
There we go.
consequences be what they may.
Yep. But no, thank you much. Definitely visit the website, order some stuff, and we will see you soon.
Right on. Thanks, Troy. I appreciate your time.
You bet.